Good morning and welcome back to my farm in Central Portugal. Today's an exciting day. I'll show you why in a minute. Something arrived that I ordered a couple of weeks ago and it arrived a couple of nights back in darkness around 9 p.m. I was quite surprised. There was no light around, it was literally pitch black, but I'll show you what it was. And what it was a new project, as if I don't have enough on my hands, but it is something that's a necessity. I will reveal in a little while what that's going to be. Can you guess so long? Because we're standing at the fig trees, and as the seasons are starting to change, you can see that my nice cover when I shower is starting to dwindle a little bit. So, and also the evenings are getting a little bit cooler. The mornings are at the moment nice and cool as well, and when it's windy it is actually quite chilly as well. The wind can get a little bit nippy, so I need to start thinking about getting better cover for me when I'm showering. Hello and welcome. I'm Christine, an expat originally from South Africa. I moved to Portugal in October of 21. And I started my journey in search of my forever farm in Portugal. I saw over 30 properties and it took me about 6 months of searching, but then I finally found the one. This is my adventure as a solo expat on a farm in Central Portugal with my 2 fur kids, Shakti and Shiva. I've never owned or lived on a farm, but I moved to Portugal in the hope of fulfilling a lifelong dream in finding an open space, subsistence farming, and a safer, better life. Now that we have found our farm, the second stage of our journey begins. I have to figure out farm life while renovating an agricultural structure to make it habitable and turn it into a comfortable home for me and my fur kids. Follow along our journey. This is Girl Meets Farm. I just had a really unexpected call from a courier. I was not expecting to receive anything today or anytime soon, in fact. So it was really surprising when I got to the courier and I received a very unexpected gift. Excited to unpack this and see what we can do. Thank you, Bluetti. He's not very happy that I'm in here. So as you guys can see, my storeroom is quite full and I feel like I bought every tool possible yesterday in the hardware store to help me with the project that I'm about to do. And my wood arrived. So this is a pile of wood. There's actually 2 projects lying here right now. The one you will see today and the other one I'm going to keep a surprise. But maybe if you spot it, you might guess what the second project is. If you can, do comment below, take a guess and I'll let you know if you're correct. But the first project is going to be the majority of the wood pile lying here. And we're gonna try and see how far we can get with that today. You might be wondering what's happened to the rest of my projects. Well, I'll give you an update in a moment. So there's 2 other projects that I'm working alongside this project little by little. The one is to trim the rest of the section behind me, and I've managed to get a quarterway in for the time being. The second project is to continue washing down those interior walls of mine. So what I'm thinking is to get some help in, and I'm going to see if I can get help in for this week to just finish off the rest of the strimming while I am completing this new project. And the walls I can do little by little in my own time. Look who's come to visit. So by now you've probably guessed what I'm going to be doing as this project, and the first step is going to be to just do some cleaning. I've chosen this spot because it's close to the house and the gate opens to the outside, so I would still be able to get vehicles in here the way that I envision this in my head. So I really do hope that it turns out the way that I'm planning in reality. So by now, if you guessed that I'm building an outhouse, you would be right. With the dwindling of the leaves and the falling of the leaves in preparation of autumn, I don't really have a lot of cover when I'm showering these days, apart from the cooler breezes that are coming through. So I'm planning on doing a bit of a dual build. I'm going to be putting a shower in, but I'm also going to be doing an external toilet. And the reason for this is I'm hoping that in September we're going to be starting the bigger project build, the bigger renovation of the structure. And what that entails is demolition of a wall, restructuring that wall, demolition of the dilapidated roof side, and restructuring the roof. Now that's quite a bit of work, and that is in the section where my current toilet is. So I need a space that can last a couple of months while we transition this project into a home, and you know, that I'll be comfortable enough using as well. So even when there's workers or for whatever reason have friends around, whatever the situation, at least there's a space that is kind of okay, you know. My idea was to do something super basic, like super basic. Look, this in my mind only has to last a couple of months, hopefully, but having a taste of renovations in Portugal and building projects, this could go on a lot longer than I'm anticipating. I'm hoping not, because I would really like that roof to be done before winter hits, else it's going to be super cold in there, as things are just going to blow right through to the section that I'm living in right now. Now, in my mind, like I said, I was going to do something super basic because it only has to last a couple of months. And I was just going to tack a couple of pieces of planks together and build like a proper outhouse, like nothing fancy. But speaking to the guy at the woodyard, he's convinced me to do something a little bit more upgrade, higher grade, better class, I don't know, that looks better and also will last longer. And the only reason I've gone for that is that I could repurpose it in future. Maybe not in this position, but somewhere else on the land, because I do have a dream that I would like to put a yurt up on the higher terrace of the land, and you know, maybe have friends stay there. I could Airbnb it, who knows what I can do with it. And then this little outhouse could actually just be taken down and rebuilt on that area of the land as well. That's what I'm hoping in any case. So my very basic build has turned into something super complex. It has some of the ideas that I was going to use originally, but instead of just putting planks up side by side and tacking that onto wood beams, we're now going to be cladding the whole thing, and I've never done that before. Well, I've never done any of this before, so I really am just hoping that things turn out the way that I have it in my mind, and you know, that we have something decent and that's not going to cave in on me when I'm using it for the next couple of months, and that it will actually last a few months as well. But first things first, we got to get the space a little bit cleaned up, a little bit level as well. So I might use some of the dog sand. They're not going to really enjoy that because they really like playing in that sand that was left over from when they did the cement for the new roof cap, the ridge cap. let's get to it. End. That's going to be the base beam, and from there I'm going to be building up the structure. So the space is cleared. I also need to treat the wood still, so I think that's going to be my next step. Let's get the wood treated. Let's start there. Let's have that dry out, and then I can build the rest of the structure. Moving inside because it's pretty hot outside. Yes, Pidgey. I don't really have anywhere to work from really, and to make sure that the wood stays clean and dry while I'm going to be doing the fungal treatment, I guess. So I bought this little workstation. I'm going to see if that can maybe do at least 2 of the pieces or whatever while I'm getting everything else prepared and whatnot. I think it'll dry fine in the warehouse, else I will move it outside. I'll see how I feel and how quickly it dries for me to work with it. But for the moment I'm just going to start with the structural stuff, so all the beams I'm going to paint as well. I didn't think I needed to do it, but I think I'm going to do it anyway, because then it's done. It's going to be on the ground. There's no sheet or anything underneath it, so I want to protect the wood as best as possible. Even though for me, in my mind, it's only going to be a couple of months, I may want to use that wood in future, and I may want to use the whole structure in future. So I'm going to protect it as well as I can for now. Let's keep going. After some trial and error, I managed to at least get the workbench together. Not going to win any awards, and it's never ever going to do anything heavy duty, but you know, it's another surface for me to work on, and I can at least do basic cutting and, I don't know, putting together stuff, gluing, maybe even painting with it, and it's, whoop, I'm going the wrong way. It works. It's a little rattly, but it's sturdy enough. I don't quite have the right masks left over, so I had to move everything outside to give us a little bit more breathing room than inside, where it's going to be quite closed off, because apparently this stuff is quite hectic. So I'm going to wear one of these masks just in case. I've got my gloves, and let's quickly give all of this like one coat of. Oh, hello. Well, while I'm waiting for the oil on the wood to dry, I decided to come inside and have a quick bite to eat, cool off from that harsh sun, do a little bit of catch up on client work, and also look at some recipes for dehydrating pears. But while I'm here, I would like to tell you guys about the sponsor of today's video, Bluetti. Now, my friends at Bluetti have sent me a really amazing little portable power supply, which is super great. You think that's a light? No, that's the Bluetti. Let me show you some of its really cool features. It just so happens to also have a light, which is great. And a couple of different settings for that. This is the little portable power supply that I received from my friends at Bluetti. It's a really great little device. It's got a little LCD screen and it has a couple of different ways to actually charge itself. Now, it comes with this little bit of a power bank, and this power bank has 3 different ways to charge. Solar, cigarette lighter battery, and also just normal AC power, your wall unit to this, charge it up. This plugs into here when this needs a little bit more juice, but it comes out the box ready to use, as you guys have just seen. There's 3 different ways to also use the power from the Bluetti, which is really great. You can use it to charge your mobile devices and even your MacBook. It has a USB-C adapter, which is great because that's what I need with my Mac. And 12 volt output, so if you need something with lower voltage. And of course, bigger voltage all the way up to 700 watts. And that's what this little device is able to do. It packs a bit of a punch in such a small device. And it's really amazing. Now, as you guys know, I'm semi-off-grid and I do have electricity, which is really great. But in Portugal, we have different levels of electricity. You can actually apply for very basic, what they call simple electricity, which gives you a couple of watts per day, and it also has different bands during the day. So sometimes during the day you might not have any electricity at all, and then it can work its way up to the highest level package of a lot of electricity where you don't really have to worry and you can run all your appliances and all your devices and everything all at once. I do not have that yet. I'm on a very basic, lowest level of electricity, so this is going to come in super handy. I've also only got electricity in this structure with only 2 main electricity points. So from these 2 electricity points, I have to keep running very long leads, extension leads, so that I can use my computer here, put a light on there, put a light on by my bed, and keep all of these appliances running, my modem running at any given time. Now, using all these extension cables is really not a great way to run your electricity. I'm no expert and I'm not going to claim to be an expert on electricity, but the little that I do know is that. So this unit is actually really fantastic for anyone that's off-grid, fully off-grid, because it does come with its own little solar panel charger, as I mentioned. So if you don't want to run your cigarette lighter power from your car to charge this little guy, or you don't have access to mains electricity, the solar panels are really great to charge this guy up as you need it, and then you can just go around and use it wherever you want to use it. You can plug leads in here and you can run, well, you can't run this big fridge behind me, but you can run a bar fridge off here, which is pretty amazing. And Bluetti have even provided a little guideline as to, just to give you a general idea as to what this little guy can do for you. Now, they say that common loads or runtime charges of this guy can give you a smartphone charge of around 40 to 50 hours. LED light bulbs around 20 to 30 hours. Even a television, it can charge for around 5 to 6 hours. Electronic tools like basic power tools that are below 700 watts output, 5 to 6 hours at 80 watts it says. A refrigerator, now this is a bar fridge, 4 to 5 hours. Even a slow cooker, which I was really impressed by, up to 200 watts, around 2 to 3 hours. Now, what I have been dying to try out. Let's put the Bluetti aside just for a moment. All the power tools. Hello, my boy. I recently acquired a dehydrator to help me with some of all of the harvesting of the fruits that I have. So my little dehydrator, let me just pick it up again. My little dehydrator, I have been really excited to use, and I've been waiting, and the Bluetti is going to be the perfect tool to help me use this. Then I don't have to worry about unplugging one of my appliances or devices, or running an extra extension cable to run the dehydrator at the same time. The dehydrator is only 240 watts, so we should be able to get a couple of hours out of that. And if I remember correctly, a slow cooker at 200 watts is 2 to 3 hours, so we should possibly be able to get 2 hours out of our device, out of our Bluetti power to dehydrate some pears. And that's exactly what we're going to try and do. Now, sure, this is great for me, but I also have some future use for this guy. This is super great if you want to go camping, and I love being outdoors and I love going camping, although I haven't had a chance to do that here. Although you might say it's exactly what I have been doing while living on my farm. So, but this is really, really wonderful if you're an off-gridder, and Bluetti have a range of other devices that also specialize specifically to the off-grid market. So it's an amazing little company. Unfortunately, at the moment, they only cater to European markets and also Australia. But if you are in Europe, or if you are anywhere else in the world, and you can buy this product off their website, you just need to have an address that you can send it in Europe, and then forward it on from to your address wherever you are. Now, I know that South Africans watching this channel might absolutely love the idea of the Bluetti, because in South Africa we have something called load shedding. And yes, the name sounds horrific, and it really is an horrific thing as well. Load shedding is power outs in South Africa, where we have one electricity provider in South Africa, one electricity company that provides the whole of South Africa, and it is still nuclear power. We don't have any alternative sources of power unless you install that yourself. But currently, that one provider can't generate enough electricity for the whole of South Africa. So what happens is it just generally shuts down sectors all over the country for a couple of hours at a time on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. And so you're left as a consumer without any power for any of your appliances. You have nothing. And this can happen at 6 in the morning, 12 midday, 6 p.m. at night, anytime throughout the day, and like I said, multiple times a day. So it wreaks havoc on our economy. It wreaks havoc on if you're trying to get work done but you don't have enough juice in your laptop to keep you going, or you don't have a UPS to keep your modem running long enough to get some work done while your laptop still has a charge, or just any other general, if you want to keep your fridge going or whatever it may be. So I think South Africans would actually love this product because it's really lightweight, it's easy to use, you can plug in so many multiple things, you can keep your laptop going, and you can keep your modem running at the same time. You can actually charge multiple devices at any given time. This will definitely be modems, phones, laptops, and your lightweight appliances that needs to draw power. Of course, that power will be diminished the more devices you have. So if you have only a couple of devices, you will get a longer charge from the Bluetti on those devices. So for you guys, you might want to check out the Bluetti EB55, which is this one. It's a great looking thing. It's really lightweight, like I said, and there's hardly any noise. Now, for all of my subscribers, I have a discount code for you. I'm going to put that in the description, so if you guys are interested in looking at the Bluetti, seeing some more of the specs, seeing some more of its bigger brothers or other products that they have available at Bluetti, I'll put the link in the description and also up here. But right now, we're going to see what we can do with our dehydrator and see how well this buddy goes. We're 2 hours in and the Bluetti is still holding the power beautiful and consistent. There, I don't know if you guys can actually see in there. Let me try and get in there. I'm gonna go a bit skew. But the pears are starting to crisp up nicely now, and they're starting to look like little chips, like little dry chips. So far, so good with the Bluetti. That sound that you hear is a combination of the dehydrator and the Bluetti. Actually, the Bluetti is perfectly quiet. That's the dehydrator blowing air out. Right. This has been going steadily for just over 3 hours. Right, let's see how the Bluetti's doing. Don't know, I don't think this is gonna translate on camera, but from nearly 100% full, 3 hours later, 240 watts dehydrator, consistently going. We're at about 20%, so it's used more or less 80% capacity, probably a little bit less because it wasn't fully 100% charged. And in my opinion, that's done really amazing. 3 hours, beautifully consistent, powering my dehydrator outside. Pretty amazing stuff. I just checked and it looks like these guys aren't 100% dry, so I'm gonna still let them go for as long as the Bluetti can handle it. It should still be another 2 hours or close to 2 hours according to the dehydrator. Let's see if the Bluetti will make it. I'm incredibly happy to report it's been nearly 5 hours. This is super close. We're probably 10 minutes away from this being 5 hours. The Bluetti is still going, albeit we have now very nearly depleted all of its power, all of its energy. It probably also has about 10 minutes left in it. It's done an incredible job, and I want to say that I looked at these guys right now and they're pliable, not super crunchy, but I think as a first time, this is exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to switch this off. I'm going to let that cool down, and then I'm going to decant them into glass jars and pack that away. We're also going to switch off our Bluetti. I'm going to charge that up again so that I can use it for any further wood that needs to be cut. In fact, all of my cladding will need to be cut and oiled still. So let me get this charged. Right, the wood is dry and it is time to mark them, to cut them to size. So don't laugh. I didn't have the guts to use the new circular saw. So I'm cutting them all by hand. I've so far done one, which was fine. I'm now doing a bit of a different method with this one, but sure, it's going to take longer than the circular saw, but I'm not feeling very brave today. That wasn't a straight cut, but I don't care. It's going to be on the ground anyway. I'll face them the other direction. I promise they are really all the same length. They're just lying at different angles. But yeah. Good morning. It's the next day. I didn't quite manage to finish all of the painting yesterday because the wind came up and I didn't really want to be painting with that toxic stuff in the wind blowing in my face and stuff like that. So today we've got to finish the base beams, just the end painting. The one is fully complete and one I have as an extra beam. I may or may not use it, so I'll have 4 complete ones. I'll see how that goes on the floor, and then if I need the 5th one, I'll use the 5th one. I've then also got the structural quarter posts, which will go on the 4 corners of the structure. I'm going to see if I can get those painted, and then I'm going to leave it all to dry, and then once it's dry I'm going to put down the floor, all the base beams, and then I'm going to see if I can get at least the 4 corners up, and then we'll see where we are from there. I've got to then also just treat and oil the rest of the wood before I can continue with the rest of the structure, but let's see if we can get through this today. That's roughly the 3 major beams, and then it looks like I am going to use all 5. So I'm going to put 3 beams down there, and then I'm going to try and fit 2 in between them as well. I've just roughly done this. I know my measurements between them, and I will do that more accurately. So that's kind of my thinking in any case. We'll see if it works out this way. I mean, who knows, but I'll try my best. I realize that that wall is going to be a bit of a problem when I want to stick the cladding up on the back, but there is nowhere else for this to go really. I think this is the best position. I don't really want to stick it in that corner over there, because the reason for that is the guys are going to be building here. They're going to need to dig trenches and stuff here for the sewer lines and for the water lines, so I don't want to be in their way. And I'd rather be away from the building than being in their way. Although the septic tank is going to be dug on the other side of that wall, they won't need to come in on this side with a tractor or anything like that. So I feel like I'll be fairly safe in that little corner over there. That's the thinking in any case. The wood is dry, and I have loosely marked out the area where the structure is going to go. I just put a backing beam just to straighten it out and to get the distance, the length of the structure, I guess. I'm now going to nail in the first backside beam. I'm going to do it flat because I think it just might be easier to get to it. Here's hoping this works. I clamped it to help with holding the position a little bit. The first nail, there's 2 nails that I'm going to be putting in. The first one is almost going into the lower beam. It's a lot of banging. I didn't think it was going to be this hard to nail it through the 2 beams, but I just hope this works. Well, it did go through the bottom. I may need to adjust it when it's standing up. This is definitely easier to do with 2 people. 1 person is a bit of a challenge. Tobias is right here behind the wall giving his commentary. I just got to keep going and see. Well, they're fastened. I definitely think this is easier to do while it's lying down, but if that goes there, I'm just not far enough. Unless I should just try it anyway. Boom. So scared the wood splits. As I mentioned, I had planned a super basic structure, but the guy at the woodyard made it a little bit more complicated and a little bit more complex. So I'm not quite 100% sure about his plan, but I'm kind of just going it the way that my brain thinks is logical. So as I've been going, I've also just added more things on because that seems to be what wood I have. And I've also decided, so this is the cladding, and the cladding also needs to be treated, and it also needs to be cut down to size, and all the edging still needs to be removed, which is why I have the knife. But I want to show you what I've done so far. So I have managed to nail in the end pieces to the bottom beam. I've also added a middle beam to help with the cladding and another place for the cladding to be nailed onto. I'm also considering whether I need a cross beam, not the one that is currently there because that's a bottom beam. That one I've just put in there to help me support to lift it up. Later on I thought that might work a little bit easier than me trying to stretch across. So yeah, I'm kind of building with a vision in my head, and as I'm going I'm realizing, oh, it helps if I do this on the ground as it is, because then I don't have to nail it in the air, I guess. So as I'm standing here, I'm wondering if I should put the rippers in as well in between, or if I should put a cross beam ripper in the middle and also then at the top, to help keep that structure together on the inside, and then that's also where the roof is gonna go. But I'm not 100% sure how this all fits together. It's really just trial and error to see how it needs to go. It's really all trial and error, and the sun is baking down right now. I know this is not even the right kind of knife to do this, but it is the knife that I have. So, oh, let's see if we can make this work. And I think it should be fine to just take off whatever edging on this side needs to come off, and it should be easy enough to just scrape it off. Wherever there's still pieces of bark attached, really. Right, so I have fetched my jigsaw, and seeing as there is no power in this warehouse where I'm working, I thought this would be another great test for the Bluetti. Seeing that it is a portable power station, like why not try and use it? The Bluetti can take up to 700 watts. My jigsaw is 500, so technically this should work. Let's see if it will. The Bluetti currently has, it's got a really nice little screen. That probably isn't really coming up on camera because the sun is a little bit hectic, but it is currently at 80% power. So I don't know, let's give this a shot and see if this will work. AC output, so it's got to go in here up to 700 watts. It does. It hasn't taken any energy yet, so let me put this on the ground and give this a go, guys. I'm not even sure how stable this is going to be with the the jigsaw. I put clamps on, but honestly I don't know if these clamps are any good. I just want to start on a straight edge. I'm super excited for that. Let's just put the jigsaw back in its box for the time being, because I'm keen to see what that did with the Bluetti. Just move this over here. Oh, that's such a nice smell. I'm going to unplug the jigsaw and let's have a look-see here. It's still on 80% with one cut, so yay! I think this is going to work over here. Good stuff. Thanks again, Bluetti. Already in the afternoon, and it's taken me a good part of the morning to just get the one side structure up. The middle big beam is not actually staying there. The ripper is nailed in, but this is just to try and keep it balanced for the moment. The big beam is just clamped in there to just, like I said, keep the balance and keep the structure upright. I've put some basic points on there to keep it upright for the time being, and I'm sure once I've got the other walls up it'll be looking a lot better. I'm going to try and see how far I can still get tonight, because I would really like to have the structure done. But all I want to say is this was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Pay your carpenter friends. I have now been working all day on the structure. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, and a lot of the pieces, the nails just wouldn't go through. It was just too solid, I guess. So a lot of the pieces, like this one, the nails literally just bent and they wouldn't go further than that. So I had to discard it, and I have to just figure out what I'll do with that piece some other time. But it is now 5:30 and you can tell it's dinner time because everyone is congregating for my time. Let me show you. We have Mr. Tobias over here. Tobias! The dog's watching from a very safe corner over there. And Pidgey sings the song of his people every time I come in here. Pidgey! Is it dinner time, boy? So, I don't think I did too badly. That side's still up. I moved it over just a smidge. I managed to get the corners and the middle beam in. Oh, you can tell I'm tired. It's been a really hot day. I managed to get the other side in as well. I have clamped down a piece here, and I'm going to do exactly the same as what I've done here. Put a ripper in the middle, more or less, on this side to just keep the frame stable. The big one, the big beam, stays in there with the clamps just to keep it stable as I lift it and to help me lift it as well. This time I'm tying the middle piece with a piece of twine. I didn't do that last time and it kept falling over and rocking the whole thing as I was trying to lift it up. But before I can lift that side up, Tobias is very persistent. Before I can lift that side up, I need to get rid of some of the fig branches, so I need to cut a few of those away quickly, and then I can do this side. And I just fed him. You won't believe me, but like, he's making it as if I'm a liar, but honestly his bowl is quite full of food, but he's been craving attention all day probably. Shame. Hey Tobias. Okay, I'm coming. Before I cut this down, I think I need to feed the farm. I'll be back. I'm going to try and see if I can get the second side up. If it doesn't feel very stable, I may put it back down because it's gotten quite windy, and then I can continue tomorrow. I need to do the back and I need to do all the other bases, base beams. Let's see if we can do this.
Ist du falsch? Jetzt weißt du, was lustig ist. Weißt du, was lustig ist? You must go drink water, come on. Go drink some water, please. Go drink some water, please.